Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Please Don't Tell here in Dallas, Texas for the final press conference for All or Nothing. Huge night of boxing action taking place this Saturday night. Now, it's all brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing USA, Mr. Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, and Rock Nation Sports. We're sponsored by Tecate, the official beer of boxing, and JD Sports, and all the action will go live around the world on Dazn and on Sky Sports. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're delighted today to be in the Lone Star State. And Texas has produced an array of fighters in an array of different weight classes over the years. Guys at the lower weights, like bantamweights, guys like Orlando Canizales, Paulie Ayala, moving up to featherweights, guys like Ronnie Shields, great welterweight, the Lone Star Cobra, Donald Curry, even the big boys, heavyweights, guys like Mr. Ronaldo Snipes, and even George Foreman were born in the great state of Texas. You know, boxing traditionally had 8 weight divisions, and later on, of course, the 9 tweener divisions were added. In 1920, the Walker Law created the 140-pound division. Now, whether you call it a super lightweight or light welter, it really doesn't matter because some of the greatest fighters and champions of all time have campaigned at 140 pounds. Guys like Chavez, Pryor, Zoo, Canzoneri, Ross. And I think we can all agree right now the 140-pound division is as hot as it's ever been. I mean, we're potentially only a couple of fights away from having an undisputed champion. And that's, of course, what everyone wants to see. So the saying goes, everything's bigger in Texas. And this fight is exactly that. Maurice Hooker and Jose Ramirez, 2 undefeated champions putting everything on the line. Their belts, their undefeated records, and their legacies. This fight truly is all or nothing. Here to tell you all about it and introduce you to all the fighters, the man that put it together, Mr. Eddie Hearn.
Thank you, David. As always, a splendid introduction. And thanks all for coming here today, ahead of a huge fight on Saturday, live on Dazn. Of course, the 140-pound unification matchup between WBO world champion Maurice Hooker and WBC champion Jose Ramirez. This fight, of course, groundbreaking in itself. Of course, the inter-promotional companies of Matchroom and Top Rank, and we'd like to particularly welcome Mr. Bob Arum here today. As David said, it's all or nothing. Both guys go into this contest with their belts, hoping to unify the division before we see another unification matchup between Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor on Dazn later this fall. Talking of Dazn, what a revelation it's been. Another huge matchup from a great schedule since its launch last year with Alexander Povetkin taking on Anthony Joshua. We've had an amazing first 8 or 9 months. Of course, the Joshua Ruiz fight, the Canelo Jacobs fight, Demetrius Andrade recently, Maurice Hooker, all these great fighters, Danny Jacobs, and Tevin Farmer, of course, who's been a revelation since he signed with Matchroom. The most active world champion, unquestionably, in boxing, takes on his mandatory challenger, Guillaume Frenoir from France, on this card as well. Before we speak to all these top fights here on the table, we want to welcome a few people and younger fighters on the card. It's so important to watch their growth as we try to guide them towards world championships. And a young man I'm going to bring up first, from the state of Texas. He is arguably one of the hardest punchers I've seen coming through from the amateur ranks. Sam Katowski done a great job with him, and Peter Berg as well. This guy is so exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, Austin Ammo Williams.
How everybody doing today? First off, I want to say thank you to everybody, all the fans, all my friends and family, and everybody for the support, because, you know, without you guys, I wouldn't be myself, you know what I mean? Without the support, without this platform that Eddie has given me, you know, I wouldn't be able to touch, you know, lives like I am right now. So I'm really thankful for that. I constantly get great opportunities to, you know, showcase my skills and showcase, you know, what dedication can do. Because as everybody knows, I'm pretty young in the sport, but I'm super dedicated to the sport. Every day I'm working on it physically and mentally, and it's showing, and it's a blessing for me. It's really a blessing for me to be able to be in front of you guys and perform. So thank you guys so much for your time. I'm here to change the world, as I said before, and this is my way to do it. And Eddie's helping me out, Sam's helping me out, my management, my team, everybody is really on board, and I'm so thankful for that. So with that being said, I love everybody. Thank y'all so much for your time.
Thank you, Amo. And again, another young fighter that's come from the American amateur system who's coming up. Again, he might not be happy that I said that Amo was the hardest puncher out there, because this guy's knockout ratio is absolutely first class at the moment. He's boxed continuously in the US, he's boxed in the UK on one of our shows there at the O2. He's lighting up arenas all around the world, last seen at Madison Square Garden. Ladies and gentlemen, Nikita Ibabi.
First, I want to thank my team. I want to thank Eddie Hearn, Max from Dazn, my coach Sosa, my manager Keith, for a great camp. But you know, it's the fun part now. Come out this Saturday, see Machok is in the building, and expect another knockout. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. Check Nikita versus Amo Williams in the undisputed fight in a couple of years' time, 154 pounds. We're going to move on. Joey DeWecko also taking part in a heavyweight contest against Rodney Hernandez. We had Murat Gassiev scheduled for that fight. Hernandez has stepped into that fight. We move up to the main three fights on the card here. Of course, 2 world championship fights. One of those a big unification fight as well. And a fantastic fight between a great young talent who we've had the pleasure now to work with through our relationship with Dino Duva, teaming up, of course, with Maurice Hooker. And before we bring up Jermaine Williams and particularly Dino to talk about his charge, I want to bring up the other fighter in that bout. Ladies and gentlemen, Yenifil Vicente.
Bueno, buena tarde para todos. Buena tarde para todos. Así que le doy muchísimas gracias a la cadena Dazn por la oportunidad y a Divela.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to Divela Matchroom Top Rank to make this event possible.
A mi promotor Raúl Patrana y a mi equipo de trabajo que han hecho un buen trabajo para esta buena pelea que se nos presenta.
To his team and everybody that make this happen.
Y bueno, para decirle que tanto yo como mi equipo nos sentimos en óptimas condiciones y hemos hecho un buen trabajo para esta pelea, así que vengo por la victoria y me siento bien seguro de eso. Así que Dios lo bendiga a todos y que Dios esté en este evento.
Yenifil said that he's 100%, he had time to train, there is no excuse, and here we go for the win. Thank you very much.
Gracias a todos y que se den cita en esta pelea.
Thank you, thank you. Stand well with the sound. Let's use this one. We'll use this one. Okay. His opponent, I've heard so much about in Jermaine Williams, this young fighter. Dino Duva's been flying the flag for this man for a long time, so I'm going to bring him up to say a few words and introduce his fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, from Rock Nation, Dino Duva.
Thank you, Eddie. Obviously, we have a great main event on Saturday night, great semifinal, and the Temmie Kevin Farmer fight. But we're very proud that this third semi fight is on this show, because it's 2 fighters who are both at crossroads in their careers, and I'm just so proud of Jermaine Williams. For those of you who don't know his background story, please check it out. He's been through a lot, and he's fought 3 times this year on the comeback trail. This is the fight that can get him an opportunity for a world championship. And Jermaine, the U.S. amateur champ several years ago. But this is his opportunity, and I'm so excited and thankful for Eddie to put him on the show and give him his opportunity. I want to bring him up right now.
I finally get to showcase who I really am and that I can fight. And that I'm dubbed the next Jermaine Williams, I guess. And come Saturday night, I'll showcase what I can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine, and well done, Dino, with the switch up. This next fight is a fascinating fight. Again, Tevin Farmer, for me, has been a revolution and a revelation as well in the 130-pound division. The story behind this young man is inspirational. The smile always lights up the place, and I just love watching him do his thing. He's been, as I said, by far the most active world champion. For me, he's the dark horse in the 130-pound division right now. I believe he can beat all these guys. He's probably his biggest rival, fighting on the same night as well on another smaller platform somewhere. And I think that this is a really great opportunity for Tevin Farmer to start calling this fight out, because again, for me, I believe he is the main guy in the 130-pound division right now. And it is a joy to represent him, particularly from not just where he come from, but where he came from in boxing. You know, thrown in the deep end early on, suffered his losses, came back. If anyone would have said after his 9 fights or whatever it was, that he would be in this position today, in a position of, you know, the most active world champion in world boxing and one of the key players in the 130-pound division, I don't think anybody would have even dreamed that he would have achieved this. In his opposite corner in Fremwar, a guy that we have seen over on our shores in the UK, brilliant, brilliant fighter. He fought one of the fights of the year against John O'Carroll, which ended in a draw. I know that Fremwar and his team believed they won that fight. Many people did. We saw John O'Carroll have a great fight with Tevin Farmer. But without doubt, Tevin Farmer must not overlook Fremwar. This is a very, very tough test. And I know that Fremwar's team and Mehdi and everybody are here to win this fight. The mandatory challenger for the 130-pound IBF world title, Guillaume Fremwar.
Bonjour tout le monde, merci à Dior de m'accueillir ici. Ça fait longtemps que j'attends ce combat-là, après ma victoire contre Carole. Donc maintenant on y est et voilà, je suis motivé et je vais chercher la victoire.
Since my win over John O'Carroll last winter in England, I was waiting this opportunity. Thank you, Eddie Hearn, to make it happen. I'm ready like never before, and I really want to come back to France with the belt.
Thank you, Guillaume and team. Let's bring him up, one of the brightest characters out there in the game right now, one of the top fighters, as I said, in the 130-pound division. Ladies and gentlemen, the current reigning IBF actually is with Alex. We're going to come up and say a few words? Come on, don't be shy. Mr. DeBella will be in town later on tonight. Before we introduce Tevin Farmer, someone who was very integral to this deal going through, speaking on behalf of the great Lou DeBella. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex from DeBella Entertainment.
I did dress for the occasion, so thank you, Eddie. Real quick, I just want to thank Matchroom for their partnership over the course of the last year with Tevin Farmer. It's through this partnership that he has been the most active fighter in boxing. It was just a year ago that Tevin and I were in Australia when he was winning the championship. And to think that he's defended the title, this will be his 4th title defense. It's been truly remarkable. It speaks to the prowess of Dazn as a platform, of Matchroom as a partner, and their commitment to helping us raise the profile of Tevin and turn him into the superstar that we believe that his personality dictates he will be and his talent dictates he will be. That's all I've got. I'm not Lou, so I won't speak for 20 minutes. I just want to, again, thank everyone and bring up the American Idol, Tevin Farmer.
Hey everyone. Thanks for coming out today. I want to thank my team, Team Farmer. I want to thank Lou DeBella, Eddie Hearn, Dazn, and everybody that's involved with making me become the superstar I am. I had an amazing training camp, and I know a lot of fighters say this, but this has probably been one of my best training camps. 8 weeks of hard work, no cheating, no training six days a week, 3 times a day, I brought on a new strength coach. It's just been amazing, man. I'm feeling very, very, very good. And I think this will be my best performance. As y'all can see, I'm skinny as hell because I'm making weight, but I'm not dried out. My mouth not dry. I can still drink water. So, you know, I haven't felt like this in a very long time. And I feel like I rededicated myself. I feel like I've always been dedicated, but I feel like the few months I had off after John Carroll fight, I feel very, very motivated again. And I feel like I want to take this thing to a new level. And on Saturday on Dazn, y'all will see Tevin Farmer take it to a new level. And hopefully a fight or two from now, when I get the bigger fights, they can mention me in top 10 pound for pound. I want the big fights. I want the Gervonta Davis. I want the Jojo Diaz's. I want all those fights. And they big fights because I'm in them too, you know. It's not just because it's them, it's because I'm in them too. So hopefully after this win, God's willing, on Saturday, if I can't get a unification fight, I already told Jojo Diaz, I want him next. So if not, give me a unification, but Jojo Diaz, you next, buddy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tevin. We move on to this mouth-watering main event, which really is just a fight that I'm so excited about. Of course, we want to thank the top-ranked team for helping us to make this fight. I think it's great in today's day and age that two different promoters, two different promotional platforms are making fights like this. 5 weeks on Saturday, you see Vasily Lomachenko defending his world titles against Luke Campbell on our show in London, another fight made between Top Rank and Matchroom, and I think it's great to see the way forward for fans to see promoters making these fights. One thing that I love about this fight is the need and the will and the want to win. Not just from the fighters, but from the teams as well. I mean, you've got some great people involved in these teams. You know, you've got Arnie, you've got Vince, you've got Bob, you've got Robert Garcia, one of the best trainers in the world. You've got Rick Mirrigan, who is somewhere around here. We're going to bring him up shortly. He's crazy. I mean, there you are, Rick. I mean, Rick, this guy, I've been watching him on social media. He's just been telling us Ramirez wins in 6. This is going to be a brutal knockout from Ramirez. We see this fight very differently from this side. And it's so great as a promoter to go into a fight with no needle, just pure competition and will to win. Because I have to be honest with you, I am desperate to see Maurice Hooker win this fight on Saturday night. Because 1, I think he's a great man and a great fighter. 2, because I love his team of people. And this is why it's called All or Nothing. Because they go in with their world championships, they leave with nothing, or they win they leave as the unified world champion. And I'm so up for this fight. We went to Oklahoma to see Maurice Hooker fight Saucedo on a top-ranked show. It was one of the great nights so far that I've experienced in this game. And Maurice Hooker is a great underdog, but on Saturday he gets the chance to become a star. He comes to Dallas, back home, where he gets a chance for really to create history and legacy in the sport of boxing. Let's bring up some of those teams now. One of the gentlemen I was talking about from the Jose Ramirez team, ladies and gentlemen, his manager, Rick Mirrigan.
Fights like this are very hard to make in the sport. You guys know that. After Ramirez's last fight, he had one wish and one wish only. I want to fight the best. I don't want to fight anybody else but Maurice Hooker, because the other guys were tied up in the tournament, you know, taking place still. And I got to thank Eddie. He's held true to his word, trying to make the biggest fights in the sport, and helped me get the ball rolling to get this fight done. I want to thank Top Rank and Mr. Aaron behind me for navigating through some very complex network situations in order to bring this thing to fruition. And it's also given birth to, I think, a number of other fights that we're going to see in the future. So this fight all the way around is, you know, already producing. I want to thank Matchroom's staff. They've been first class the entire time. You know, we travel all over the world, and from drop off to pick up at the hotel, you know, Brittany, Kevin, Sean, his entire team, absolutely amazing. So, you know, thank you guys for that. And it's been interesting. After that Texas show that Eddie was talking about, we ran into Maurice Hooker's family. Jose and I just walking behind the arena. Mo was nowhere to be found, but we actually spent like 15 minutes just talking with him, trading jabs and that kind of stuff. And very competitive and fun, but these are two very respectful, humble fighters. They represent the sport the way it should be represented. And we take our jabs at each other, you know, here and there, but these two guys are ambassadors, I think, for the sport as a whole. And I am confident Ramirez is going to win. No question. So confident that I'm going to bet Mo Hooker's Uncle T 3 Whataburgers, because anybody that eats those is going to die in a month anyway. Those are the nastiest hamburgers, Texas, I've ever seen in my life. So I guarantee you I will not be eating Whataburgers after the fight, Eddie. But thank you, everybody. I think Saturday night, a new era of boxing starts with this fight.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. I have no idea what those burgers are, but bet accepted. Bet accepted. This is on. Forget the belts. This is about the burgers. Thanks, Rick. We're going to hear from the management of the other side now. This man has been a joy to work with, and it's great to see fighters managers and promoters so emotionally invested in fighters. This guy takes it to the next level. You know, Maurice is like a son to him, and he's going to be a very proud man on Saturday night as he walks his guy into the arena in this unification. Ladies and gentlemen, the manager of Maurice Hooker, Arnie Verbeek.
Well, we're about a mile and a half away from the gym, where about 8, 9 years ago, Maurice and I had a dream. And I'm so proud that you're here. And we didn't do it alone. We had a lot of help on the way. And of course, let's start with the big guy. Eddie, thank you so much. Bob for making this, of course. Dazn, of course. Dina Duva, we've had a great relationship. He was there when nobody really talked to us. We got it done. In particular, the staff. I got a very small staff. Vince Parra is the boxing genius behind all of this. And we just expanded the team with Mr. Roa. Where's Eddie? Mr. Roa right there. He's been crucial. And I'm going to promise you one thing. He is going to be so strong. I've been with Maurice 10 years. I've never seen him in better shape. And I also want to thank the WWC, especially the WBC. Their weight limit, safety weight limits should be adopted by all sanctioning bodies. It's the safety of the athlete. Maurice was touched 144 a week ago because that's what the limits are. I mean, he is in great shape. Thank you, Mr. Roa, for helping him there. Fantastic job. And I want to thank one more person here. My mom came all the way from Amsterdam. She told me to be the best. And I tried to be the best manager, and I tried to take your guidance and your lessons and give them to Maurice. And Maurice is already the best. And good luck to the team. Good luck. And I hate it for you guys, but my guy is the best. And we're going to have that green belt Saturday. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Arnie. Thank you, Arnie. I thought that was a great speech. Did remind me a little bit of a wedding speech as well. You know, hello, Mum. That was lovely. That was lovely. We're going to go to the training teams now. Again, so important in a fight of this magnitude. The training teams, the guys behind the tactics, who can get their guys over the line. This young man over here to my left had the pleasure of bringing up one of our great young fighters, Alexis Espino, with him. We've seen him manage and train world champion after world champion, one of the top trainers in world boxing today. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Garcia.
I want to thank everybody for being here. Look, there's not much to say. We're in great shape. We know Hooker's team did a great job also. He's a very respectful man, and
Thank you, Robert. That wasn't tactical, by the way. Sorry. On the other side, a trainer not quite with the profile of Robert Garcia, but the same ability and skill. A guy who is completely dedicated and focused to the progression of his fighter in Maurice Hooker. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up Vince Parra.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom USA. You're changing the game. It's a new generation. It's a new time in boxing, and I think Eddie and his group are spearheading it, and I'm really happy to be a part of that. Dino Duva and Rock Nation, who's been with us forever. Our team, Maurice. I've been with Maurice now for about 6 years, and there was a time I had worked with this company as well with another fighter, and I had some success and then a real bad downfall, and a lot of people didn't believe in me as a trainer, and I ran into a kid that a lot of people didn't believe in him as a fighter, and one guy brought us together, and that's Arnie Verbeek, and Arnie believed in us both when everybody said he was crazy, and he's pushed me to a level and pushed Maurice to a level that we knew we could be at, but we needed someone like that with the persistence and the passion for boxing that I have, and Maurice as well. And so I'll forever be thankful for Arnie for that. So thank you very much, Arnie. My team, we are small. I think I just brought Eddie Rowe in, who I've known for 14 years. But before that, there was no one. We were in England in the ring. It was me and Maurice and Arnie. And, you know, we look over and there's a guy with 6 people, and you know, but it's always just been us. And then, and at the end of the day, it's just Maurice in the ring with his opponent. That being said, we came up very, very hard. We've had ups and downs, and he's developed it, you know, far beyond even than I would have thought. You know, he's a tremendous fighter. He's a tremendous father. He's just a great guy. He's like my brother, you know. And we had a long, great camp like we always do. And I'm just, you know, I'm glad to be back here in Dallas, but just being back here ain't good enough. We set out a long time ago to dominate the sport whichever way we can. We started in England. We defended it in Oklahoma. We defended in New York. We're back here, but it really wouldn't have made a difference where it really was. We're very thankful to Top Rank and Ramirez's team. They're first class. They're first class. Robert Garcia is a tremendous trainer. I look forward to going up against him as well, just like I did with Abel in the Salcedo fight. It's a tribute to Bob and them and Eddie to make this fight happen. This is the biggest fight of the year in my eyes. My guy's ready. I know their guy's ready. And I know Robert can attest to this. When you do all the work you can do and you get these guys here, it's up to them to do the job. This is a great fight. I honestly feel like my guy's just a little bit too much for him. And, you know, we're going to have to show that. He's going to have to show that come Saturday night. And I think it's going to be a great fight, a great event. I'm very thankful for Dallas. I'm thankful for the city of Dallas for getting behind Maurice. The city of San Diego, California, who has a bunch of fans coming in for Maurice as well. He's made that his second home. So we're ready, and we're excited, and we're looking forward to be a unified champion. So thank you very much, and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Vince. We move over again to the Ramirez team. Again, this is a pleasure to make this fight with Top Rank, and thank you to Bob and also your team. Carl Moretti, who I think is flying in tomorrow for some good banter, and Brad and Harrison and all the guys there at Top Rank. It was a pleasure to get this fight over the line. So from the Ramirez team, to introduce his fighter, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like a big round of applause for Top Rank President Bob Arum.
Thank you, Eddie. Look, we in boxing have a great opportunity to reach out to the public and talk about issues which are really important. And I'm really, really proud that Top Rank and myself issued a statement about removing the corrupt governor of Puerto Rico, and we were joined by Tito Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, and other eminent Puerto Rican fighters, and we learned today that the governor has resigned, and hopefully Puerto Rico will build to the place where they belong. And I remember in November I came down here, we were doing a fight in El Paso, and instead of promoting the fight, I spent all my time advocating for Beto O'Rourke. Now, we did great in El Paso. We lost slightly, in the rest of the state, but it was a great opportunity to use boxing as a political platform. And if you ask me, I've always been concerned about politics, but if you ask me where I learned about using activism as part of boxing, I learned it from my friends in the Central Valley of California, like Jose, like Manuel there. They had an organization called the Latino Water Coalition, because, I don't know if you know this, but the Central Valley produces all the pistachios that you eat, all the almonds that you eat, the greatest fruits, including donut melons. And I mean, it is really the bread basket, the fruit basket, the nut basket of the United States and of the world. Hard-working, dedicated people. And the Latino Water Coalition was advocating the use of more of the water in California because there was a terrible drought that lasted 6 or 7 years. And they were pointing out that water was coming down from the river and going into the ocean because some conservationists wanted to save something called the Delta smelt that nobody had ever seen. And it was that bad. And while advocating for the Water Coalition, what happened was the greatest rainstorm and floods that lasted months that alleviated the water problem, but created a different problem, and that was how do you protect against the next drought? And so the Latino Water Coalition, with the help of Jose, with Manuel, were able to convince the California government to erect a tremendous dam so that, remember, it goes back to Pharaoh. Joseph, in the times of plenty, said, save the crops so that in the times of drought, you then had enough to feed the people. Same principle. And about Jose. Jose comes from a family that came over to the United States undocumented. They worked in the fields. Do you know how hard it is to work in the fields, picking the crops, picking the fruit? It is brutal, brutal work, and most people cannot do it. Now, they worked in the fields, and Jose, as a young man, worked in those fields. And believe me, nothing in life is going to be tougher than that. And thank God for America, he came through. He was an amateur fighter, a member of the United States Olympic team, and he eventually won a world champion. And everybody in the Central Valley, is behind him because he is one of them. And now, Eddie, I want to help you sell some tickets for the fight Saturday. So I want Robert Garcia to come up and you translate for me. Right, to my Hispanic friends, and there are plenty of you in this area, my Mexican-American friends, Jose Ramirez is one of you.
Para todos los latinos mexicanos aquí en Texas, José Ramírez es uno de ustedes.
And I want you all out here on Saturday night cheering for your brother who will go on to please you and make you all proud.
Quiero que todos estén aquí apoyándolo el sábado porque es uno de ustedes y los va a hacer muy orgullosos.
Muchas gracias. And now I'd like to bring up the WBC 140-pound champion, a young man who we are all proud of. Those of us who live in the Central Valley, those of us who have followed his career, a true American story. This is all about. Please welcome the 140-pound WBC champion of the world, Jose Ramirez.
Thank you, Bob. First and foremost, I want to thank God for blessing me with this opportunity. I also want to thank my promotional company, Top Rank, Bob Aram, my team, Rick Merigian, Manuel, Robert Garcia, my strength and conditioning coach, Charles Tremblay, who's always done a great job getting myself ready. The media for coming down here and paying notice to the importance of this fight, to the magnitude of the fight. So thank you to the media for being here today. To all the people here in Texas, I'm looking forward to showing my skills in front of you guys, a new crowd. That's part of being a superstar, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm very delightful and motivated and excited to go out there and showcase the skills of Jose Ramirez to the max. You know, it's been a great training camp. I feel very motivated. This is something that I dreamed of once I became a world champion, is to go after all the rest of the champions. And Maurice Hooker was the only one available. And in order for that fight to happen, I had to come to his backyard, but that wasn't going to stop me. You know, I had a goal and a purpose, and that's to become the undisputed champion of the world at 140 pound in the 140 pound division. So I'm here now, and I'm looking forward to using this opportunity the best I can and enjoying the moment and making everybody proud. Those that supported me in my career, those that continue to support me, those from California, everyone in the nation that supports me. I want to continue making you guys proud. I will go out there, I will fight hard, and they know I'll be ready. My team knows I'm ready, and I know that I'm ready. I have a lot of faith in myself. I'm a person of faith. You know, when I went to the Olympics, it was in 2012. When I became the WBC, it was the 2000 title fight. Now this is the 12th unification fight in the 140 pound division. It's just the numbers it's like faith. You know, it's like 2012, you know, and I'm looking forward to it. I know I will be coming out of that ring with a huge smile on Saturday night. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Bob. Again, clearly very proud of their fighter, and so are we. Maurice Hooker, having only dealt with him for a couple of fights, we've got to know him very well. And this is a guy who I feel is one of the most underrated fighters in world boxing right now. He has a will to win. Seeing what he did to Saucedo in his backyard in Oklahoma, seeing what he did against Terry Flanagan in Manchester. This guy is relentless. They call him the Road Warrior, but on Saturday night he comes home to make history and become the undisputed light welterweight champion of the world. To introduce Maurice Hooker, again, someone we've been working very close with, another guy who has Maurice's best interests at heart, another guy that will be pumping his fists on Saturday night on this side because of the will to win of this team. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Dino Duva.
Thank you, Eddie. You know, I just want to say something. My old friend Bob Aram, he's an all-time great promoter. We all know that. But I actually think Bob has another calling someday. I want to see him get in the Democratic field to run against Donald Trump for president. Look, this fight needs no hype. It's as great a classic matchup as you can get in boxing. You know, I want to really say congratulations to everybody who helped make this fight. It's what boxing needs. You have Jose Ramirez and Top Rank, one of their stars on ESPN. They were willing to make the deal with Eddie and Dazn to come over to Dazn because they wanted to make the best fight. And everybody deserves congratulations on that. Dazn and Eddie deserve congratulations for being able to write the check to make that happen. And this is what the fans need. This is what boxing needs. No bullshit of the networks getting in the way of great fights. And I hope this continues in the future. Yeah. You know, Bob was talking about how Jose came up in a very rough childhood, working in the field, and I have great respect for that, I really do. But I want to tell you something about Maurice Hooker, how he came up. He came up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in the country, right in this area, Oak Cliff, Dallas. And if you think that's any tougher than, or any easier than working in the fields in California, you don't know what that neighborhood's about. both of these kids deserve credit. They're at the top of their game right now. Maurice came up in as rough an area as anybody possibly could. And his whole team, everybody has worked so hard to get here. I'm proud to be associated with him. You're going to see a great fight Saturday night on Dazn. I want to bring him up right now, the WBO champion of the world at junior welterweight, Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker.
I'd like to give a special thanks to Eddie Hearn, Matchmaking Room, Rock Nation, my manager Ernie Beat, my coach Vince and Eddie, the athletes, Miss Stacy. Thank everybody for helping me out. But this fight means everything to me. I hope Jose is ready. I don't do too much talking, and I will be the champion. And I don't want to bet no Whataburger. Let's bet something else. Let's bet breakfast in the morning after the fight with my belts. And I will with my belts. But I'm pumped up about this fight. I'm happy that he's at home in Dallas. I know Jose is a good fighter. He coming to fight. He got a good coach, and I'm ready and prepared. Got a good training camp, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go 1 round. I'm ready to go 2 rounds. I'm ready to go 12 if I had to. But the way Jose fight, I think gonna be in early, because he gonna run right to my right hand. And thank everybody for coming. And thank everybody, man, because this is gonna be a hell of a fight. Thank you, Jose, for taking this fight.
Thank you, Maurice, and thank you to Jose and the teams as well, and thank you all for turning up today, and thank you particularly as well for the media that have travelled to this fight. You know who you are, and some of you real top guys, Dan, Lance, Mike, Steve Kim, everybody else who I've missed out, IFL come over from the UK. Thank you to the media. Very important that you get behind a fight of this. For me, this is the 2019 fight of the year. I truly believe you will see that at College Park on Saturday night. Do not miss this fight, live and exclusive on DAZN across America, DAZN globally across their platforms, and also Sky Sports in the UK. Maurice Hooker against Jose Ramirez, the WBO and WBC unification fight. Thank you for coming. We're going to pose the 3 fights up here on the stage now, and of course the main event, and everybody available for one-on-one with the media. Thank you very much. We'll see you for a great night on Saturday. Thank you.
This ain't nothing but a summer jam. We're gonna party as much as we can. Hey, oh, hey, summer jam, alright. Hey, oh, hey, this ain't nothing.